session.
Thank you, Luis.
And today we have here, of course, Ray Hateman, and he is going to channel for us the beings of light. Who has done that several times, but uh,
Yep.
we have
It's
been
a,
watching his YouTube channel with the beings of light, and pretty amazing.
Thank
It's
you.
all
And
yours, Senor Ray.
thank you for that nice lead in. And yeah, I enjoy their lessons quite a bit. I have no idea what's coming tonight, but yeah, and I haven't posted the one from today yet, but yeah, it's a delight for me, and I'm pleased that they chose me to speak through, and I'm really glad that I have you guys here to help co-create this. Thank
Oh, beings of
You're wel-
delight, huh?
you.
you're welcome.
You are all beings of light. Come on. We've always known that. Let me take my 30 seconds for my prep and they will be in your ears shortly. And the evening is yours. Thank you all for attending. A short message before we get to the question portion, if you would be so kind, is to discuss the subject of rain. Now, rain touches everything on your planet in one way or another, but we would like to specify the energy of the rain from the perspective of nature, because all nature looks forward to rain in no matter what form it may come in, whether it is liquid or solid. They are aware of the consciousness and the divine energy of that energetic form of precipitation. And that literally means the world to them. They will gladly suffer from hailstones or flooding or drought in order to do their part to worship Gaia, the weather spirits, and other energies. And we just want to make sure that when you experience rain in whatever form, do it with a glad and open heart. Do not think about the difficulties or potential harm or damages which may be done. For if you accept the rain, it will lovingly accept you as well, as all water is conscious, as you all know. But we felt it important to impress upon you in this message for the coming days for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, beings of light. I'm going to take the first question. And my question has to do how to deepen our relationship with our body. and making it a sacred relationship. And as a secondary part of the question, what is the wisdom that the different parts of the body hold for us?
There are multiple parts to the first part of your question. In treating it like a temple, first, we would urge you to become friends with each part of your body. Introduce yourself and greet them gladly. Each toe, toenail, your feet, the bones and tendons and ligaments and nerves and arteries and veins and anything else inside of it. For if you joyously shake hands, so to speak, with each parts of your body and tell them how you appreciate them and how much they mean to you in an authentic fashion, you will build up not only those physical parts of your body, but the better communication between those parts and your conscious mind, so that that information could flow even more freely than it might now. This will be helpful in alerting you to coming events, even. A second step for coming into your body, so to speak, we had discussed in a very early message about doing a body scan, starting at the top of your head and scanning and acknowledging each part mentally, taking a vision or adding your energy to each of those parts as you would taking several slices and just go on through and name and appreciate every part of your body. This is more in line with taking stock or a medical exam, we might say, as opposed to a friendly gesture and get acquainted as the first part was. And once you do that with your whole body, which may take 20 minutes, then that too will reinforce the structures and energies within your physical form and aid in that communication not only between the conscious mind, but between all parts of the body as well. A third part to your answer, or your question, I should say, is to view your body as a holistic energy being apart from yourself, as a best friend apart from yourself. And you will give that best friend all of the best food, all of the best drink, all of the exercise that it needs. And if you treat it as a whole and as a whole being in a loving, generous manner, you will find that it more than reciprocates that energy and caring for you. And if you would be so kind to repeat the second part of your question, Mr. Luis.
What wisdom do different organs and parts of the body hold for us?
This is a chance to investigate the ingenuity of your body. For not only do various energies and beings have representations within your bodily form, but forms of the earth itself are involved. You all are aware of the chakras and the energy centers which occur in various points of your body, which are important permission slips and sensitive areas for energy transmutation, transfer, and information gathering and releasing. While we will not go into the details of your various organs and what aspects that they may present for other beings or other energies, we will focus a bit on the green energy of your hearts, for that is the most important for you to dwell in. And seeing your heart having that green energetic field pulsing around it and exceeding into and beyond even your chest not only makes you feel good, but it helps your biology to feel good as well. And those of you who pictured this in their mind as we were discussing this have felt that as well. The same is true for all of the chakra points. And if you concentrate on them and bring that energy to them, you will find that you will be able to move energy within your body to where it may be needed. That just because it originates in a point does not mean that it would have to necessarily stay there, or that you can see one hand which is perfect and another hand which is scarred, and imagine that the skin from the perfect hand goes to the hand which is scarred, and lo and behold, see that scar disappear. There are many mental aspects of this as well, and we will also ask that if you do have such transformations which seem to be sluggish, please reach out for help, and not only in your dream state, but in your meditative states as well. For those energies and those energy blocks are easily revealed to you more than most things because all humans identify with their body and they know that any relationship or information pertaining to that is important. So they grant it more credence, we shall say. While that was a bit roundabout, we hope that it offered some comfort and help for you in answering your question.
Thank you. The innate intelligence of the body, is that the collective of all parts?
While there are many energies which exist in supporting not only your illusionary reality and, in ways, your bodily functions, that is really more of a misnomer for your experience, for all you view and experience and hear and touch and feel is you. While those are representations of energies which are outside of you, which do exist and which you are in ways interacting with, that is as far as that will go, as far as experiencing directly other energies.
Thank you. So I yield to Milo that has a question.
Yes, thank you for being here. I've listened quite a bit to Mateos de Stefano, and he often refers to water as being this incredible storehouse of history on the planet. Not only the planet's history, but much further beyond that. And that I was mesmerized by hearing him talk about that. And I was wondering if you could add your views, comments, thoughts around that subject.
Well, there is some context there in the form in which Mr. DeStefano uses his examples. And while it is true that the ocean is representative of every drop, and every drop is representative of the ocean, just as every thought is part of source, and all that is part and source of every thought. The While those are too broad of definitions to be of much use as an answer, we will say that water has many different characteristics just in your physical realm. In other realms, water is treated differently and may not even exist in the forms in which you would recognize it, as you know that it is energy. It is a base energy for many realms because of its magical, we will say, capabilities not only to transmit energies native to certain realms as it does on your earth, but vast amounts of information as well, which have escaped, for the most part, your scientist and your consciousness as well. For even a drop of sweat on your body can reveal much about your entire health and activities. The water, which has been imbued with positivity and loving divine energy, which is on a fulfilling quest of expansion, will be a lot more serviceable or malleable than water which has been kept and fouled and kept decrepit and cursed, as the energies of all things are different. There are representations of all forms within all that is, including water. But the way that humans think of water is only a small portion of what water can be. It's analogous to the amount of light of the full light spectrum which your human eyesight can detect. So the answer is more than what we can provide and less than what we are willing to provide. We hope that that satisfies in some way, Mr. Milo.
It does. Thank you.
Arla.
Who has had asked some questions, and I would like to ask if you have examples of how to connect with particular parts of the body.
Through the ages on your planet and beyond, there are many different ways in which to connect with various places on your body, as each has its own frequency resonance, which will activate it, such as with your tuning forks or with other harmonies of bowls or drums or bells or even a singing voice. In some cases, from nature sounds will have healing qualities. As far as for specifics, once you establish the communication link, there should be no difficulties in having various bodily functions discuss with you not only health needs, but nutrition needs and exercise needs and other things which can be suggested to you. If you wish to contact a specific part, we suggest meditating and putting your love energy centered in that particular part, especially any part which may not have the positive, loving expression that you may give to other parts of your body or to beings which you hold dear, which is how you should worship each part of your body. Were there direct questions involved in that, or was that just a general overview?
It was just a general question about, connecting two different parts of our body in order to have that conversation that we need to have. So I
And,
thank you so much for your answer.
and for humans, it is rumored to connect with your small toe, walk in the dark around furniture.
Uh,
Miles?
My question has to do with what's inside of us and what's outside of us. So, my understanding is that there is no outside of us, everything is inside of us. And yet, I hear people channeling talking about stars that, or yeah, that are outside of us, or that they have a mission. For instance, an Arcturian emissary that is separate from us. And on the other end of the spectrum, I hear some channelers saying every star is representative of a cell in our body. Can you offer any insights into this?
We would say there are many ways to answer or even frame your particular question. As far as inside or outside, again, it becomes your method of perception, your method of awareness. For in some realities, such as your physical reality, it is inherently important to view yourself as limited and not in touch or create everything in your existence. The main question would be it is what are the main answer is what is inside is what you believe is inside, and what is outside is what you believe is outside. Now, that is a conundrum because you can believe that you know everything outside of you as outside and everything that is unknown as inside, and you would be correct. It may cause some difficulties trying to reconcile that in a logic format. The important thing is that in many ways it doesn't matter. The important thing from our aspect is that you accept and not judge the experiences that you are given, and adding an additional label to them is not really representational of their true form or your true representational relationship with that energy. We understand why the questions are asked because you are placed in a realm which labels are given great importance, much to the chagrin of many beings who are outside of your limited physical capacity. There is no demeaning with that statement. It is merely a path of exploration that most do not have the courage to choose for their expansion and expression. Was that enough on inside and outside?
I
Or,
think it was. I'm going to need to consider that and reflect on it, practice some stillness, and open up to the things that you've just said. In
and will
some
you be
ways, I found
practicing
them.
inside or outside? And when you reflect on that,
That's, that's yeah, that's pretty good. Um, I tend to practice from the inside. I tend to believe that everything is inside of me, and so that's where I'm trying to connect with it.
and your thoughts will carry you far. Good luck with that. You will not need it, but it seems to bring you joy.
Thank you.
Beings of light mentioned the word luck just a second ago. And in a recent YouTube clip, that was subject of conversation. And so I was kind of wondering how we can consciously shift from feeling lucky or unlucky. How can we become more aware of the energies that rule those two conditions?
And thank you for being so observant about that word. In a recent message, we posted that the word fortunate is a much better expressive term than the word luck. For fortunate leaves room for your efforts, your creativity, your involvement, your power of manifestation in the creating or forming of an event or circumstance or even a product, an object. Whereas luck carries with it the connotation that there are other things involved which are beyond your control, which is, of course, a fallacy. For none of this is beyond your control. It is all absolutely within your control to the nth degree. Now, recognizing fortunate over unfortunate, as each of you know, is merely recognizing and applying the frequency which is appropriate for the desired outcome you wish. You choose your emotions. You choose somewhat your patterns of response, even though they may become unconscious to you. So we urge you, because when you are less dense, when you are more joyful, you are expressions of divine energy. And in that state, you manifest much more efficiently than you ever could in lower vibrational states. So, doing and recognizing the things which allow you in your own mind to maintain a higher vibrational state will create more of these fortunate events and miracles and awe and wonder in your life. Now, this is not a secret to any of you, but it was in the question which was brought up. From our view, everything in your entire existence is miraculous, and all creatures and species who are part of the Earth Collective are bright and shining stars amongst all of reality. We consider you all fortunate, and we consider all those who learn from you and who share with you, whether it is directly or through observation or through soul groups or other layers of energetic observations. You are all fortunate, and they are fortunate because of you. Not exactly the segue we were shooting for, but we hope that it helped.
Thank you. Beautiful. And it certainly helps. And I would say that maybe we should tell Miles that he will be very fortunate in his pursuits of the inner and the outer.
If only it were as simple as a belly button.
Does anybody have a commentary or question? If not, I can pursue a little bit more the thing about the inner and the outer.
Um, I'd like
Yeah, go
to
ahead.
just, I looked up lucky in the dictionary. And it's interesting because of this is the dictionary that would be classified as a spiritual dictionary that gives you meanings. This one says being lucky means to be judged well by supernatural beings. To be judged well means to be in touch with supernatural forces through spiritual practice. In this specific cultural context, spirituality and luck are therefore inextricably connected with well-being. I just thought that there's a lot there to ponder if you are taking that and looking at all of the different aspects of that particular meaning in the spiritual realm.
And we would ask you, having experienced various energies and beings which have enhanced and interacted with you and those you know and care about, did those just happen?
It was, I believe, in divine order.
There was,
And you can take divine order and define it in so many ways. It factors into your soul contract to so many different things. So,
but you have created that as well.
definitely.
created those relationships. You have
Yes.
created that opportunity for trust. You have built your vibration up into something that other beings can see and instantly know she can handle it. She is of, she can, of vibration. She is of vibration that this will be okay with her and we can honor her and she will honor us. There is no luck involved. Now, in other realms, that word may have other connotations, but in other realms, it really doesn't matter if it's language, for the most part, anyway.
Thank you. When it comes to words, I always go back to something Kashima told me a long time ago, and Kashima is my Sasquatch teacher. He says he is a primal being, primal from the beginning. And we were in a discussion about humans, and he he said to me, "You humans love your words." And we do. We are fascinated by all these different words that in our culture now, in this time, could have multiple meanings. And we could see them all in a different way. So thank you. I appreciate that.
And we must add that at the mention of Kashima, you have truly mentioned one being who literally can make his own luck.
I will have to present that to him. That will be an
Already
interesting
done. Please,
con
please pursue it.
conversation. So, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I always say I'm the poster child for the RSVP of the spirit world in whatever exists.
Beings of light, I'd like to get a commentary from you. I heard recently through somebody's channel work, actually, that a while back, that particular channel had spoken of the reversal of the magnetic field as being a very important thing in the human psychic, that it would alter the balance and people will be confused and they would become unable to discern reality and come as a result of that to any consensus about anything during that period. Can you comment on that?
Wow, there are multiple Earths, and including multiple Earths in which the magnetic poles do shift from time to time, it would be up to those particular individuals to choose that reality in which to have that form of expression and disorientation, you might say. There is scant desire for that method of learning in our observation. There are many more ways of experiencing confusion and various emotions which may be related to that, or even actions which can be obtained in more efficient ways, we will say, than by immersing oneself in a physical reality with the attributes which you mentioned. While it is possible, it is not commonly chosen. we shall say.
Thank you. Any other questions?
We would like to add that the banter inside each of your minds is very light-hearted and enjoyable to us.
And yours is very enjoyable as well.
I'd like to return to this topic of luck again. Um, as I was sitting with this, listening to the discussion, it was occurring to me that I conceptualize luck as sort of a general state that I find myself in, that is sort of in a way synonymous with a kind of feeling lucky, feeling appreciative, feeling as if I'm in the midst of um, countless gifts, countless blessings, some of which I see, most of which I don't, that um, uh, all forms of support and love and affection and are swirling around me all the time. And there's a kind of, I'm inherently lucky. Everybody is. You know, it's like holy mackerel, look at all that's going on inside and outside. And so there's a way where um, when I hear that term luck, it just automatically opens up in me that sense of just profound admiration, appreciation, almost like I'm bowing to everything at once. Um, so it's, I almost don't see it as a force. I almost see it as a sort of a way of being in the world. Just I feel like I'm on the receiving end of being lucky somehow.
Well, the related beliefs and connotations which go to that word affect your reality in a positive perspective, we will say. For you are using that word to express and associate with a feeling of well being, of high vibration, while someone else, if that luck disappears, what happens? They lose their lucky rabbit's foot. Then they have this pall of dread because they have cast their fates on something physical, even if it is a chant or a wisp of smoke or a particular object. Once they entrust that feeling, that emotion, put their energy and faith into something outside of themselves, then they are not giving themselves the full credit. And there is room for misinterpretation and the connotations of other individuals in your mass co creation associated with that word as well. Provided you are able to fend through all of those and maintain a high vibrational state while reflecting on that word, we would say you are most fortunate. But others may view it differently, and we are glad that you have such a positive outlook on that particular word.
Me too.
It's an energy that has higher vibration, that feels euphoric and positive, and that anything that one would ever need just would show up.
Although it may not be a good analogy, the connotations of I'm not so smart, and I'm stupid. Both may ring true, but one is more damaging or less harmful vibration-wise than the other. That is akin to how we view the logistics, we will say, of fortunate and luck.
We are fortunate to be here tonight.
We are glad that all have taken the time in time as you know time. And we are blessed to have this co-creation with you. And we are pleased with the selves which you have become and are becoming. And it gladdens us. Until we meet again outside of time, we love you all.
We love you. Welcome back, Ray.
Hi.
Hey.
Boy, it was a lot on one word, wasn't it?
Yeah, but there's reasons for that. Everybody can open their mics, and it's just a free for all, so to speak. And I have a question for Arla. If Arla would like to, I've recently had the feeling that there are other beings just like the Sasquatch, primal and interdimensional, much smaller size, much smaller. Okay. Man, they just keep showing up now. What can I say? But I got this thing that at the beginning you think is in my imagination, but it's it basically said we are like this Sasquatch. That's what I got, you know. So what's your experience, Arla?
Primal being was a term Kashima used to speak of their ancientness. In other words, primal being from the beginning. There are so many primal beings here now. Most have been here for however long. Some are new. And it's interesting to me that people now are discussing, well, this is what I saw. And they told me that in your instance, we're like the Sasquatch. So what does that mean? Does that mean they look like the Sasquatch? Or does it mean that their heart is like the Sasquatch? And it doesn't negate either how they interact with you, whether they are just aggravating you constantly, or if they're doing loving things that we're not understanding as loving. I was in the Daniel Boone forest in Kentucky, and I had been talking to what people call dogmen. And after that, we went deep into the forest, and I was standing there, and the dogman had turned and left, and I turned around, and my eye caught something that was kind of low to the ground. And I turned and looked at it, and it looked like a snail. It was upright, kind of like a snail is rounded on the top, but had no shell. And so I asked them, who are you? Are you a kind of snail or something like that? And all they said was, we are a primal being. And we are here in the forest because we choose to be here. Now, like anything that chooses something, you are at some point going to interact with someone else or something else. And so for the little guys that are, and girls, if that be the case, that are there with you, Lewis, they sound very much like the Sasquatch kids that, you know, are a part of my life. They're my neighbor's kids. And, you know, in my growing up and with my kids, neighbors' kids were my kids. And they pulled as much stuff at my house as they would anywhere else. And so I talked to them as if they were my kids when they were with me. So these little beings, exactly what do they look like?
Well, size-wise, you know, they're probably like 2 feet high, okay, and it's a little roundish, okay. Now, I really feel them more than I have this image. I could just, what I felt was the feel of what they are, and I distinguish them from Sasquatch in the sense that the area where I saw them, I've never felt Sasquatch there. One, and number two is the feeling and the message that came to in my mind was very quickly, we're not Sasquatch. We're like it, okay, but we're not it, because I thought the same thing. Is would this be little guys, you know? But I've had the experience of at distance having seen a tall Sasquatch followed by probably the female and followed by a child, what we would call it, and they're still big, you know. If I was very close to them, I would have said he's taller than me, and that's just the kid. Okay.
Yes.
But this was actually something that was at the level of a little higher, maybe than my knees, but that's about it, you know, a little higher than my knee.
Well,
And
there's something they call brownies that are kind of like Sasquatch.
yeah, but it wasn't a brownie. But I
Okay.
have brownies in the house too, or have experienced that as well. Uh, in and I can see them in the periphery, and they move fast. God, they move fast. Uh, so I had those kind of experience. I didn't feel like a brownie. It was more substantial than a brownie,
Than a brownie.
at least from my experience, you know, basically. But what struck me was the fact they were trying to make contact. Okay.
That
They really wanted
that
to make
wouldn't
contact.
surprise me
Yeah.
at all with any of us, that something is going to be making contact with us. And, you know, I talk to people all the time who have something common. They don't know what it is. And I always, you know, tell people, ask. You have that right to ask. Who are you? You know, and then, you know, I would tell them who I am and what I'm doing. And they already know that, but that's a courtesy or being respectful in doing that. One of the things that's happening now and will be happening more is these primal beings that nobody has a name for. I mean, everybody knows Dogman and Mothman and Sasquatch and Dogman and many of these others. Well, you can put fairies and dragons and little people and all of them together. But there are some that aren't in the human mind at this time, and they will be very different looking, and they are primal beings, and some of them will push people in their thoughts about, what am I seeing? This looks evil. This looks scary. And it's not at all. They're just different than we are. That's what my new book is about, 3 beings who meet each other that are totally different, but become like family in the woods, and that we can accept something that looks totally different than we are. Nothing, demons do not exist without humans.
It's
We are the
humans,
ones
yeah.
that create
Right.
them.
Right.
We are the ones that give them life. They don't exist in any other dimension other than this 3rd dimension. And that's part of our learning too. And we are quick to look at something, and if we have no reference for it and it looks scary, it's got to be a demon. And that is
Our,
not
our,
true.
our fear brings them into our existence.
Yeah.
The more fearful that we become, the more that we attract them.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And we had to
And another
invent
way
that
for me
word,
to
right?
think, how's that?
We had to invent that word for fear because we felt uncomfortable or we were unsure. And all of a sudden it got labeled, oh, well, that's fear. And it got lumped together. So we have all of these different emotions that now make us, I'm afraid.
Yeah, but it's an interesting emotion because, fear is really what stands opposite of love. Love is full expansion, and
And we're
fear is
born with
full
2.
contraction. You just
Yeah.
go.
We're as an infant, we're afraid of loud noises and falling. That's it.
Mhm.
So, when parents scream at each other, as kids, we innately go, "Oh, bad. This isn't good. And I don't like this." You know. But I don't know if you've ever seen the videos. They try to get babies to crawl over these black and white floors, and at some point they go down 90 degrees, and then go down for about 5 or 6 feet, and then they come up on the other side. And even though the baby can touch the floor, it's not. No, it's not. Said no. I'm not. This optical illusion is not for me. I'm not even trying it. I thought that was interesting. And Arla, I got to tell you, when you mentioned Kashima, the beings of light, they instantly said, "Now here's a being who could make a world where luck was relevant if he wanted to."
He he is amazing. He is love. He is an ancient. There is those who are full ancients, and I only use that term because they are the ones who choose not to take a mate. They are in full service to humanity, this universe, and any other universe. And Kashima is a liaison with, and I'm using human terms here for this, but he is a liaison with different universes.
Mhm.
And so he does other things besides connect with me. I mean, I can connect with him energetically from anywhere.
Uh-huh.
He does come in the physical, and the first time that I realized he came to me in the physical.
Well, it was interesting for me that I had always heard about him. I had an aunt that was just a fanatic about Sasquatch or anything else that was magic. And so I was like, okay, and I'm like, okay, okay, I didn't know whether they were made up or whether they were real beings or what. I wasn't even 10 years old. And I'm like, okay, let's go for the real. I don't believe mankind's found everything yet. So yeah, so I went from believing that they might be real to believing that they are real, and then to believing that they were differentiated and real in many areas and many cultures.
Yes,
And then I had to unlearn all of that and say, no, they're just energy beings like we are. That's just a representation that we choose to accept because they were here before the earth was the earth. So they are not earth creatures. They are pre-earth realm energetic beings, if
they
that
are
means
very,
anything.
very definitely pre-Earth. They were watching, and some of them were, and some of the star people that I work with was a part of the birthing of the Earth Mother. And so they knew at some point that they would be coming to Earth. They loved this Earth, this reality of Earth. They love, and they care greatly for her. And, that's been part of the many indigenous messages, is that that's what they do. They teach us, the things that we are not supposed to do, and how we are going to live with the earth. And so for now, they are working with individuals to bring back the medicines on the earth and how to utilize those. I have a Ponca Kiowa native friend, and they had lost a lot of their traditional medicines and using them. And he became connected to a Sasquatch, and he just started being told about these medicines, and he had to find an elder and say, I've got this information and I don't know, I can't really find anything on it. And I asked some, and they say, oh, well, we don't know. But he said, I have managed to find a few that have remembered and kept some. Some of them, they only know part of it. So he's being taught by a Sasquatch how to bring back those medicines, the plants and things that his ancestors used.
Yeah, I laugh whenever I see that little meme, "Oh, I wonder how the first people to ever define hallucinogenic or poisonous mushrooms." And I'm like, they didn't have to go through any of that. They were in touch with their higher spirits. They automatically knew which ones to get and which ones to avoid. They didn't even think about which ones to avoid because they only went but paid attention to the ones they were going to get. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like, and don't take it all. You take what you need and you leave the rest there, and you never take all of anything. If there's 4 eggs there, then you make sure you leave at least one, if not
yeah,
two, because that was the way of nature.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And the
That's
plants are telling us too now. If you connect with your higher self, the plants will tell you things.
Mhm.
And, you know, this is for this third dimensional life, that this particular life that we are living, that this is going on. Of course, if, you know, there are several different timelines going on at any given time, and even the words we use, people are changing them. They say, well, you can't say past life anymore because it's just a different dimension. And so there you go again. We humans love our
Eh,
words.
That's right. We like to separate, differentiate, all those good things, and put here, this is the good club, that's the bad club.
Yeah. And you're gonna stop the recording or?
Yes, I'm stopping the recording, and
Okay.